Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. This time we're trying to do things slightly differently. Since there's a while to go for the IPL, this time we're focusing on its slightly overachieving cousin, the BBL, the IPL on steroids, as I like to call it. With me, as always, we have Mukul with us. Mukul, welcome to the show. And how ready are you to talk about BBL?
Not a lot, but since I've been following cricket. We have been doing this for so many years now. So yeah, I mean, any league we if it would have started like few matches would have happened, then it would have been much better. But since it's starting fresh, so yeah,
Good.
uh, not so much prepared. But yeah, still good enough, I guess.
Right. It's a good practice before we get into the big leagues, the IPL. But for now, we'll settle for
Yes.
its Australian mate, the BBL. I think BBL is something
Yes.
that's been symbolized by a lot of high octane action. I always love the commentary, the energy that they come in, insane catches, amazing fielding, very end to end action. So I think that's what is my idea of the BBL.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say about the commentary thing also. I personally, the one thing which I like in BBL is the commentary. Actually, it's very football style,
Right.
very energetic and very. It seems very quick, although it's a T20 league, but it seems very quick, and the vibe is like very different from a IPL match or like a PSL match. The environment is like really very different in BBL. If you see, it
Right.
feels very close to like football. You can say,
Yeah.
which very different from what we see in IPL.
Right. So I think, yeah, that's a good change that way. And let's do a quick overview before we jump into the game. Five-time champions and the reigning champions, the Perth Scorchers. I think they're again favorites to win the championship this time out. What do you think? Are they another Chennai that way, or do you think are
I
this?
think if I remember correctly, Perth Scorchers don't have any a team of superstars. I think the Melbourne Stars is actually the team which has a lot of good players. If I remember correctly, they
Right.
had Adam Zampa also. I don't know. I don't think they have it now, but
Hmm.
they had Stoinis, they have Maxwell, they had Adam Zampa and a few other players really good. But they not have won I don't know if they've ever won or I think they have won it maybe one time so whatever. So I think this is more like a say Chennai, exactly like you said, which is a really balanced team. Doesn't have any
Yeah.
super. At least Chennai is MS Dhoni and everything. But
Yeah.
Perth Scorchers, if I remember correctly, the team is not full of any star at all. Maybe one or two players hardly, which is like a normal domestic player. But that overall team is like very balanced. That's how they win. That's why they keep winning.
I think speaking of players, a few big misses from the tournament in general. I think players like Rashid Khan and Harry Brooks also miss out, who generally add a lot of fun and a lot of excitement to, especially the T20 format.
Yes, Rashid Khan was a key player, but yeah, he's having a surgery. I guess they are preparing for T20 World Cup. No one wants to take too much risk
Yeah,
by playing and I don't think anyone would want to miss IPL also, to be honest with you, any international player.
yeah,
So the time they have left is to
yeah.
miss out and whatever, do the surgery, take some rest, take some break from cricket is this time only. After that, once IPL happens, I think just after IPL in 1 week there's T20 World Cup, so there is not rest until rainy season next year.
Yeah. And talking about the IPL, I think what the overseas rules they have over there, there's rule changes now this time in the BBL. There's only three overseas players allowed to play, and an increase from last season of two. So they only allowed two last season, and this time they've included three. Do you think compared to the IPL that makes a lot of difference having less overseas player or more overseas player?
I think these leagues keep copying each other, So I think the impact player rule, which came into IPL last year, was copied from BBL. BBL had an impact player rule, which came, I think, last year or last to last year. I think they had it first, and then IPL copied it from there. And I think they are trying to copy the number of players who can play because they can see. Ideally, India, Australia, and England, and or the three countries, maybe to some extent like South Africa, are the
South
only
Africa also has
countries which
one.
remaining, like, who have a lot of domestic player who invest in their domestic players.
Right.
And the purpose of this league, I guess, these leagues is only to nurture the domestic talent, to, like, and obviously to make money and entertainment and all of that. So I think increasing a one international player, I think they are trying to cater to more international audiences, because, like, they, a lot of people probably from, like, other than people like us, they don't see a Big Bash a lot. So I think they are trying to increase, so that, like, if, say, if a popular domestic player from any country, like, plays in a league, they automatically, like,
Right.
start the popularity of a league goes way high. If India doesn't allow players to play, but say, like, if they allowed only like
Yeah.
one player from India, if Virat Kohli joined a Big Bash team, Big Bash will grow 5x in like one single, like, this year only,
Yeah.
like, so it makes a huge impact on who the player is. So I think it's a good move for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think interesting dynamic that way, obviously, because in the hierarchy, probably IPL is considered to be have the upper hand. But if players from India, like like a Hardik Pandya, or like you said, a Virat, or even Dhoni for that matter, even if he's inching towards retirement, but if he was to play and captain a side in the BBL, I think that would do wonders for all these domestic leagues that way. And speaking of the format, so they're now experimenting. This time they've, reduced the tournament's size overall. They've shortened it to 44 matches only, and that they've increased the number of knockouts. So I'm sure there's trying to, experiment and see what can be a lot more exciting. A shorter format would really, cater to an audience watching over a long period of time as well. So it's good to see that leagues like these are experimenting, and I think you said rightly, a great platform for nurturing domestic players and who can ultimately rise to the national teams. So India, obviously, and then England, South Africa, and Australia are doing this pretty well. So let's get now into the match as well. The match we're reviewing is Brisbane Heat versus Melbourne Stars. A team full of stars, but overall, I think it's a very uh, sort of a mid to low table clash because these teams haven't really been performing in the previous seasons. But head to head, their games are always very interesting and they're always pretty end to end that way.
Yes, I think Brisbane Heat and Melbourne Stars both are, like, quite underwhelming teams. They have not performed a lot, and they are good players. Like, I just saw that Harris Rauf also actually plays for Melbourne Stars, so he's also, like, and he's more popular in, like, they say Melbourne is his home ground, as, like, more than like any ground in Pakistan, because
Yeah.
he was so popular in Melbourne Stars. He was directly picked into the T20 side in Pakistan. He didn't play any domestic matches. Now he plays, but he was
Yeah.
so popular. He got so popular in, like, Melbourne Stars and BBL, that he was directly chosen for the T20 side in Pakistan.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, so the players are a lot, but I think, like, the whole team combination actually matters more. So yeah, I don't know how this season will go for both of these teams, but yeah, if you see the history of BBL, this is quite a, like, what can I say, if you compare it to IPL, like, keep aside Rajasthan Royals for last couple of years, but before that, if you take it, it must be like a Punjab Kings versus Rajasthan
Yeah.
Royals match.
And
Very, very low key.
we can't help draw the comparisons to IPL
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what we watch a lot. But yeah, if we speak head to head between both Brisbane and Melbourne, I think, like I said, very end to end games always. Head to head, their 11 was Brisbane has won 11 as compared to Melbourne, who won 7. And the now the dynamic is also interesting because the match is happening at Gabba, the pitches that we know how they work, which I think also adds to the excitement of the BBL. The pitches that are there in Australia, which favor the paces, the ball comes to the bat very nicely, and they're able to hit it out of the park. The sound that you hear from the bat is always a lot more exciting if you compare it to the IPL. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah. So I think,
So
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, the players are really good. So you can say the one key thing which I remember just now is, I think, in this thing there's a very unique thing which happens. I think Maxwell opens in for Stars. I think he opens
mm,
the batting, and I think, if I remember correctly, it was last season or last to last season. I think he scored a crazy amount of runs. I think 180 or something, maybe, if I'm
yeah.
not wrong.
I think,
At least a lot of runs. It was, if it definitely more than 100, like a big 100, 150 plus or something like that. So
yeah,
yeah, some matches are really good. Like, if you see those matches, the whole match is a highlight. So
yeah,
those matches are really entertaining. But
yeah.
other than that, I think some of the matches are really underwhelming for these
Yeah.
teams.
So I think speaking of Maxwell, I think let's jump into the player picks. Maxwell, obviously from Melbourne, I think he's probably a no-brainer for us for players who
Yes.
are playing on Gully Cricket. Any other players that people should look at?
Yeah, I think if there are availability, but I think if Harris Roth is available, he has been really good for Stars, and I think Stoinis is also there. Labuschagne and both Usman Khwaja are also part of Brisbane Heat, but I think they'll play the Test match. One of the bad thing about these leagues are that their international season also happens at the same time, so a lot of players keep on shuffling. Like they are playing one match, they go play a test match, and if the test match has like a 7 day break, they come and play 3 matches and then again go play a test match. So it's like you have to keep track of like players availability all the time. You don't know who's going to play next match or like stuff like
Mm,
that. But if they are available, then I think yeah, even Labuschagne, although they are ODI and test oriented players, but they have been really good into like for the team. So
right.
yes, I think Nick Larkin and Stoinis and Maxwell, Hilton Cartwright, I think he's also there. Then Harris Roth, Imad Wasim is there. So yeah, the squad really looks good for both the teams. These
Right.
will be key players. I think anybody will recognize if you look at the names.
Yeah, and I think obviously Maxwell coming off from a big season in India and hitting
Yes.
big having big innings and hitting big shots. So I think he's pretty well warmed up for the BBL now. So I think that's one player definitely that people will be on the lookout for. Guys, if you have
Yes.
any questions related to the BBL or anything related to the app, please put them down in the comments. We'll make sure we pick up those questions and answer those in the next video. As for the match between Brisbane and Melbourne, you have the chance to win about, I think, over a total of $15,000 total prize pool. So make sure you make your teams and play Gully Cricket and submit your teams before the deadline. That's all we have for today. Make sure you check out our exclusive Discord and Telegram communities. We continue to do, fun giveaways, giving out hoodies and Gully Cricket merch and stuff like that. So join those communities and be part of those giveaways. That's all we have for today. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all for the next one.